journey, you are welcome here. For those of you joining us online, we are so glad you're with us. If you're visiting us today, we invite you to sign our visitor's book, which is in the living room just back there. And if you would like to join us for coffee hour downstairs, if you would like, feel free to take a green mug so that we can be sure to greet you. Also, members and friends, to help folks connect, remember to wear your name tags with your pronoun stickers. If you need a new name tag, check in at the living room at the visitor's desk. I am Susan Hebel. My pronouns are she and hers, and I am pleased to be here today as your worship associate. Our music today will be provided by Jamie Passman and the Celebration Singers, directed by Julia Beckman. We'd like to thank you now for placing your phones in worship mode, but please do feel free to check in on social media and let folks know you are worshiping here today. Child care for children under the age of 5 is available in our playroom located in the lower level of the RE building just across the way. Youngsters are welcome to join the playgroup when the older children are sung out to RE. But please know that all ages may remain in the service and all voices are welcome here. As you may know, there's always a lot going on around the church, and you can read all about it in News and Notes, which arrives in your inbox every Friday, and there are printed copies available downstairs. If you would like to receive News and Notes, just stop by the welcome table in the living room at the back of the church. And we're going to share a little bit of information about some of the things going on. In fact, Kathy's going to come up and tell us a little bit about a program this afternoon.
Susan. Good morning. I just wanted to speak with you personally about Kent Taylor from the Climate Reality Project, who is very fortunately for us here today. He will be speaking here in the temple, in the sanctuary. I'm from Unity Temple way back, so I still say temple, in the sanctuary. I have heard Kent, this will be the third time I've heard him, and the first time I went, I was so incredibly depressed and saddened by what was going on with the climate in our world. And I heard Kent, and he doesn't fool around with telling us the reality, but he also brings some hope and some things that we can do. And I left that presentation feeling better and like there was some hope in the future. And I believe he can bring all of that to us today as well. So I encourage you to come at 12 o'clock. We will start promptly because we have to get out of here in time enough to see the Lions beat the Buccaneers.
I also want to remind you that next Saturday is another really valuable workshop available on the 27th, the work that reconnects. So if you're at all available next Saturday, that should be a very rewarding program to attend. I also want to remind you that the lead team has been meeting and it would like to invite the rest of the congregation. We've been meeting with the different circles, but we also want to meet with the entire congregation, members of the congregation. If you may remember, the lead team is a group of folks from the church who are sort of trying to help us figure out where to go with this church in the coming years and where we've been as well. LEAD, as it says up here, stands for, the L is living our values, the E is evolving our church, the A is adapting to the world, and the D is determining our path forward. So this is a project we're all encouraged to think about and to contribute to the discussion of as we make plans moving forward. So essentially we're going to be providing opportunities for all UCH members to join in this process. So please save the dates to join us on Sunday, February 28th between 12 and 2 here at UCH. We've got a Zoom meeting on February 1st. Between 7 and 9, that's a Thursday, p.m., not a.m., unless you have a lot of coffee. So 7 and 9 p.m. on Thursday, February 1st, and then Saturday, February 3rd, between 1 and 3 p.m. here at the church. So we hope you'll make it a priority to attend at least one of these meetings, especially if you haven't had a chance to participate yet, because we want to hear from everyone.
Thank you, choir. Thank you, Julia and Jamie, and good morning, everyone. Oh, yeah, thanks. I want to add my welcome to that of Susan. I'm the Reverend Dr. Beth Johnson. My pronouns are she and they, and it is good to see you this morning. I have to admit that I was really, really happy that it was sunny today. I missed being with you last week. I was in San Diego, where people were complaining that it was a little chilly. Because it did get down to the 40s, and I remember it was like living there. It's like, oh, it's so cold. But I am warmed by your presence and by the warmth of this community. It is good, good, good to be here. Begin by acknowledging that we here in the western suburbs inhabit areas that are the traditional territories of the indigenous people, including Kickapoo, Peoria, Potawatomi, and others. As people trying to live into a more just world, we have a responsibility to acknowledge the history and legacy of colonialism, the harm done to Native peoples, and also to work to repair that harm. That is sometimes a difficult thing to do, since we may or may not have relationships with the people who are certainly the first peoples here, but we've done what we can to at least bring some awareness, and that's why we do this acknowledgement. Not to be performative, but to be transformative in whatever ways that this knowledge and this understanding allows us to shift and understand the place that we inhabit. I invite us into worship this morning with words by Carter Hayward, a feminist theologian, one of the Philadelphia 11, one of the first, among the first women ordained in the Episcopal Church. Let us celebrate the possibilities of life. We come alive and prosper spiritually only in shared resistance to all that thwarts life's promise. Siblings, we're here to remember that the root of our resistance and the source of our celebration, because we remember that in the beginning was the relation, a relation so sturdy, a relation so certain, a relation so wide and deep it will never entirely be broken. We remember the relation. From it, we draw a story of community and suffering, faithfulness and betrayal, a story of life generating life, of creation and destruction, birth and death, yearning and struggling for bread and justice. Beloveds, come, let us worship together. Let us celebrate the possibilities that emerge when we are answering the call of liberating love. I invite you to rise in body or spirit and sing together number 1014, We Beloveds Are Answering the Call of Love.
The flaming chalice was adopted as the symbol of Unitarian Universal Association at the time of the merger between the Universalist Church of America and the American Unitarian Association in 1961. Prior to that, the chalice was the symbol of the Unitarian Service Committee, now the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, founded in May 1940 with the intended purpose of assisting European refugees endangered by Nazi persecution. The Service Committee wanted a symbol to put on their official documents. They looked to Austrian artist Hans Deutsch to create the symbol. To Deutsch, the image had connotations of sacrifice and love. The organization began using the symbol in French refugee camps, and soon it was understood that anyone carrying a note with a flaming chalice could be trusted. Sympathizers would draw the symbol in the dirt outside their homes as a signal to those in need of a place to stay, a light in the darkness. Today, congregations use different types of chalices, all embodying the intention to be and bring a light into the world. We join Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world in beginning our services by lighting the chalice. Now we light the chalice with these words by Reverend Margot Reinhardt. May this chalice bring us to the precipice of truth, where nothing can be hidden from the flame, and may we find the reckoning place where our souls burst open and into the liberating light. I'd like to invite Pam Voderep now to share a story for the children.
So I don't see any young people, but I'm going to invite, you didn't let me finish. I invite the young at heart to enjoy my story today. I am love. When I see someone going through a storm of hurt and unfairness, of anger and sadness, when the sun disappears and the skies grow dark, and I see there is fear, I ask myself, what can I do to help let the light back in? I put my hands on my heart and listen, and that is where I find the answer. I have compassion. I act with tenderness. I am love. I can listen and not say a word. I can be there. Love is being present. I can hug and hold and say everything will be all right, because love is comfort. I can speak softly and choose my words and actions carefully, because love is gentle. I can give thanks for all I have and am able to share. Love is gratitude. I can keep my mind and body safe and healthy. Love is taking care of me. I can express what is important to me, because love is creative. I can know that no one is perfect. Love is understanding. I can do my best to make things better when something is wrong, because love is effort. I can celebrate those I've loved before, because love is remembering. I can find goodness in a kind word, a helping hand, or a shared smile, because love is tiny gestures. I can breathe in air that the whole world shares and know all creatures are made from the very same stardust. Love is connection. When the clouds roll in, for others and for me, I know now there is something I can do. I can let my heart lead the way. I am love. You are love. We are love. And with love, we will weather the storm and light up the sky together. Don't sing me out. It's
I was frightened to see who would get up and start going, too. So we gather each week to affirm our community, to affirm that together we are more than we would ever be alone, to affirm that we begin in love and embody belonging. We gather knowing that we will be seen, heard, and known, and offer that to all who would find companionship with us. And we gather with the intention of to share that love and bring belonging to our world. We share our offering as a living out of our values and as a spiritual practice of stewardship. This week, our collection will go to UUANI, the Unitarian Universalist Advocacy Network of Illinois. Since last week, we were a small contingent. So I am pleased as well to let you know that Reverend Beth has just joined the UUANI board, which is awesome. So I'd like to share our offering words with you. Please join me. This church is made up of all of us. It is what we learn together, the work we do together, the fun we have together. It is what we share with one another, with the people around us, and with all the world. We now gratefully receive your contribution. Thank you in advance for your generosity.
I couldn't help but clap. I couldn't help but clap for these beautiful voices and the beautiful accompaniment, and I couldn't help but clap for peace. I mean, who could not clap for that aspiration, that holy invitation for us to live into the possibility of the love that Pam shared with us in the story, which ultimately also leads to peace. Our opening choir anthem said all are welcome, with brokenness, with lostness, and then we sing of peace. We pause at this time in our service to breathe, to be, to settle ourselves in after words and song, and to just be for a moment. Knowing that oftentimes throughout our days it is difficult to find the time to be, and to be peace, to feel that peace. And also to acknowledge all that we bring with us, the times when we are not at peace. And we bring that into this common space, into this sanctuary, into this place of community, of beloved community, in the words of Dr. King. To know that in this place, you are known and seen and heard. I say almost every week that you could be anywhere. Certainly on a frigid morning, there was tea or coffee or companion animals who wanted to snuggle or comforters that you wanted to keep yourself wrapped in. But no. Despite evidence that attendance in congregations, no matter the denomination, are down, there is still in each of us the need for community. And part of that need, again, is to have who we are and how we are and what we bring with us acknowledged and known and seen. So I invite you to take another breath, if breathing is your thing, and just connect with whatever it is that you brought with you today. Your joys, your sorrows, celebrations, longings. In a moment, we will enter the space of sharing our joys and sorrows with one another. And the way that we do that is we take a pebble. Each one is unique, signifying the uniqueness that each of you are. And we drop that into a common bowl of water, knowing that the water symbolizes how it symbolizes so much, the earth womb that we came out of, the being held and buoyed up, a feeling of comfort and being washed over, the splash that it makes when we have a joy. I want to remind you that pebbles can also be dropped in silence. So if you have a joy or a sorrow that you would like to share, we're going to invite you to come up and share with us briefly. And again, you can drop a pebble in silence if that feels best for you.
I'm going to go first. My name is Susan, and I'm dropping one pebble. We lost a very dear friend a few weeks ago, somebody Jeff's known since junior high, and so there's sort of a gaping hole in our hearts right now. So one is for him, and another is for a dear friend of mine who's going through a very difficult time with depression.
I've been here before saying the same thing. On Tuesday, Joe is having his third vocal cord surgery in 9 months. Let's hope 3 is a charm.
My name is Norma, and I'm here to wish a belated happy birthday to the love of my life, Ron, who had a birthday yesterday.
My name is Darren, and I didn't tell Ron this, but I'm going to say we should sing happy birthday to Ron. So, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ron. Happy birthday to you. I also have a couple of joys and one concern. Kevin Kell texted me this morning saying they wouldn't be at church today because he was in the ER with his bad knee overnight, and he's going to have surgery in 2 weeks, I think. So he asked that you all keep him in your thoughts. And I have a couple of joys, too. You know, I monitor our YouTube services and watches, and we had 70 people on YouTube last Sunday. So I don't know how many were here, but and now, you know, I also watch our subscriber count. It was 201 this morning, and it switched to 202 while I was watching. So thank you all. I don't know where the camera is over there, but thank you all for watching. And let us know if you're all going to come to church on the same day, because we'll have to put about 100 of you downstairs. Thank you.
I have no idea what I want to say other than I have joys and sorrows, and I'm feeling, and it beats the alternative.
Hi, I'm Sarah Vladica. I wanted to share a joy. My daughter Zoe worked very hard and was cast as a lead in her school musical. So I'm very proud of her. She's not here to hear me say that because she's not feeling well this morning, but she'll be back next week.
Congratulations. I'm Nancy. I'm not going to share what's on my mind.
I'm Charlie. I loved Pam's love story, and I thought of my dad. I wish he was here in this room. He was here so often. He died 2 years and 2 days ago, and we skipped rocks from time to time on ponds, and I won't try to skip a rock. Just there.
Good morning. I'm Jonathan. I'm just wanted to share a joy. It's pretty amazing to me when someone is a member of the church for a good period of time, they move away and they manage to stay in touch. And I hope most of you remember Ashley Kennedy and Nate McDad and their 3 amazing children. They come back every Christmas. It's interesting. I play the piano for a party that their next door neighbor actually has, which recreates the party that Ashley and Nate always did. But anyway, this year, Ashley is actually going to appear in the Western Springs Theater as, I think she starts next Saturday night as Pygmalion. So I just think that's really nice when people stay in our community. Thanks.
I'm Dave. I saw Bob Daniel Wayman at the hospital a couple days ago, and I understand Debbie was undergoing surgery, so I'd like to drop a petal for her.
And she is doing well. Yeah, I have her.
Did you say that so everyone could?
Yes, she's doing well. She's home and doing well. for those joys and sorrows, those spoken and unspoken. We, Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Holy One, moving in, through, and among us. In these times of celebration, homecomings, sorrows, those held in our hearts and those spoken, we remember that we are not alone. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. And sometimes we answer the call of love. And you, each of you, know this. You are always and everywhere held in love and mystery deeper than you can know. As we consider our longings for peace, the longings for justice, the longings for lives all around us to flourish, we cannot forget, as if we could, that these are challenging times, she understated. We're going to hear a climate talk today. Next week, the workshop is in the work that reconnects, which is Joanna Macy's work, based on her long decades of work, but coming out of her book, Active Hope. And so this is a time as we celebrate liberating love, which is the theme for the month, that we name where we're at. We name our challenges. But we also know that we can go on. The song we're about to sing, I Know I Can, is number 1015. I mentioned here before that in November of 2016, we started to sing this song and sang it every week for a year. It gave me hope. I've shared it with you. And I invite us in a moment to rise and to sing it. And beloveds, pay attention to the last line of the last verse. It'll be verse number 5, because it'll be a little bit different. So I invite you to rise, embody your spirit, because I know I can.
This reading is from Soul Matters. Love, it sits in the chest, at least at the start. It's what makes our heart beat again after being broken, and our lungs breathe again after being closed off in the dark for far too long. For some, it came in the form of our grandfather's eyes, which saw us as carriers of something bigger and more precious and older than our little bodies disclosed. For others, it arrived as we pressed hard against our mother's warm skin and heard a speechless whisper say, "We can always come home." We recognize love as the thing that allows us to finally remove our masks, or that which said, "I don't want you to take it off until you are ready." We were taught love by those who arrived in the midst of our fear and shook as we shook, instead of simply trying to make our trembling stop. But here's the secret, the inevitable awakening, the wonder that each of our lives is meant to reveal. Love doesn't just love us. It asks us to become it. That's why those metaphors of comforting quilts which wrap us in their warmth will never do. True love is always a thunderstorm that cracks us clean open so the echoes of other breaking hearts can make their way in. Yes, it wants us to be whole and strong, but love's deepest longing is that we will use that strength to tear down the structures that leave others bloodied and bruised. We must always remember what Selma's prophet of peace regularly preached. Love and power are always rightly wed. And maybe this is where the second secret comes loose. As I shake the walls to let others free, I learned that the ones I've liberated include me.
We are spending this month in love, exploring the gift of liberating love, which is our theme for the month. But it's not like we're gonna leave off love in February, right? Okay, love, liberating love, we got that one. No, our faith is grounded in love, and love is at the center. So far this month, we've considered love and belonging. We affirmed it in song. There is a love holding you. There is a love holding all that you love. There is a love holding all. We rest in that love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that you love, we love. We rest in that love. We named the profound interconnectedness of this web of life in which we are held and we all belong. Last week, Dave Lloyd, the head of our Green Sanctuary team and our worship chair, braved the cold along with some other brave souls and reminded us that Dr. King spoke about economic justice. Great sermon, Dave. And my friends, that was one of the things that got him in trouble, not Dave. Although, knowing Dave, he is certainly open to good trouble. Because we know that in his lifetime, Dr. King called us to a radical love, to building the beloved community, the not yet but always coming into being community of justice and love. And let us be reminded that Dr. King identified the giant triplets of evil: racism, poverty, and militarism. A nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual death, he said. And the new Poor People's Campaign considers those triplets and adds two more: systemic racism, poverty, the war economy, ecological devastation, and the false moral narrative of religious nationalism. Law professor Cheryl Cashin wrote this week, and I agree. I have no doubt that Dr. King would have brought the same moral clarity from the beginning to the Israel-Hamas conflict. He would have decried Hamas's unspeakable acts of violence, rape, and torture and hostage-taking on October 7th. He would also denounce the U.S. for funding the mass destruction in Gaza that now subjects an entire population to the risk of death by disease, dehydration, and starvation. He would denounce the death toll of now 23,000 in Gaza, the dropping of 2,000-pound bombs in dense urban areas that were not designed for, including in the southern territory to which Gazans were ordered to flee to safety. If King were alive today, he would demand that Israel stop immediately the air and ground war, despite Israeli military claims that it is in the process of shifting to a more targeted strategy. As Dr. King said, today is no longer a choice between violence and nonviolence. It is either nonviolence or non-existence. This is a call to liberating love, where all are liberated and all are free, where we recognize the destruction and we call for an end to destruction. In his sermon last week, Dave suggested that we all make our voices and demands be known in the upcoming election season. That, my beloveds, is enacting love for all. Dave rightly stated that this election will determine whether or not our democracy survives. We're saying that we uplift the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and that we will fight for democracy and all that is threatened and all that would thwart love. Next week, we begin exploring the liberating love of Buddhism with our own Lenny Edgen and our Buddhist group. Today, we're considering the gift of liberating love as a community of faith, and consider what love calls us to, and what does love look like? What does love look like? What does love look like to you? An inclusive, radical meaning at the root love. Cornel West famously said, "Justice is what love looks like in public." How could we leave love, especially since love never leaves us? We come from love. As we sang earlier, we're answering the call of love, and I believe that we are called to be love, to embody love, and to risk for love. 2 weeks ago, I mentioned theologian Daniel Day Williams, who helps us understand risk this way. Love, he says, does not put everything at rest. It puts everything in motion. Love does not end all risk. It accepts every risk which is necessary for its work. Love does not resolve every conflict. It accepts conflict as the arena in which the work of love is done. Love, Williams continues, does not neatly separate the good people from the bad, bestowing endless bliss on one and endless torment on the other. Love seeks the reconciliation of every life so that it may share it with all. In the beginning, there was love. I just discovered a note that King had penned, a handwritten note, when he was asked What is the meaning of love? He wrote, "Love is the greatest force in the universe. It is the heartbeat of the moral cosmos. He who loves is a participant in the being of God." Love is the greatest force in the universe. It is the heartbeat of the moral cosmos. One who loves is a participant in the being of God. A participant in the being of God, making us one with the universe when we love. Meaning that the gift of liberating love is that we are part of all that is. And that is radical love. Another feminist theologian wrote, "Radical love creates dangerous precedents and lofty expectations among human beings. Those in power believe love to be unrealistic because those touched by the power of such love tend to develop a reluctance to accept anything less than mutuality and self-respect, anything less than human dignity, anything less than authentic relatedness. It is for this reason that such persons become powerful threats to the status quo. Men like Martin Luther King Jr., Archbishop Oscar Romero understood, as any must know, who dare to act deeply and forcefully out of the power of love. Radical love is a serious business. Without persistence, without willingness to risk, the power of radical love will not live in our world." Another person who spoke about love that I deeply appreciate, James Baldwin said, "The longer I live, the more deeply I learned that love, whether we call it friendship or family or romance, is the work of mirroring and magnifying each other's light." Just like in the story, just like in the reading. Gentle work, steadfast work, life-saving work, in those moments when life and shame and sorrow occlude our own light from our own view, but there is still a clear-eyed, loving person to beam it back. In our best moments, we are that for another person. 2 weeks ago, I invited you to take a look around, and this is that awkward moment where you can or you don't have to actually look at someone. But since we're talking about a light that is mirrored, would you like to take a look around and see the lights in this place? Yes, there you go, all these shiny lights in each other's eyes. Yes. We are part of the interdependent web of all existence, and that love calls us to care for Earth and all beings who are affected by ecological devastation. Such love. In reading around about love, I got to read about love for an entire month. It's been fabulous. I came across an Australian publication that asked the question, what if we centered radical love at the heart of our politics? Reflecting on the devastating fires that ravaged the country in 2020, Louise Tarrant wrote, "We witnessed and experienced collective grief and despair for our neighbors, our wildlife, our vegetation, for our loss of innocence and sense of security. We responded in community with compassion, generosity, and love." Do you remember that? Australians weren't acting as consumers, as value maximizers, as market players. We didn't necessarily know each other, but we still cared and helped. She goes on, and that is what radical love is about. It's about caring, cooperation, community, connectedness to each other and to our environment. Bell Hooks writes in All About Love, New Visions, when we choose love, we choose to move against fear, against alienation and separation. The choice to love is a choice to connect to find ourselves in the other. And from that connection, we can build toward a new collective good. And bell hooks reminds us, the moment we choose love, we begin to move against domination and against oppression. Now, many colleagues and congregations this month are preaching on liberating love. One colleague, the Reverend Matthew Johnson, no relation, of the Rockford Church, says he went down an etymological rabbit hole looking at liberation. And I like where that rabbit hole took him. Here's what he found in his own words. If you're working on liberating love, you may be interested in some fascinating etymology. Free comes from the word P-I-E, root, to love. The word freedom is, of course, free plus domination, free from domination. Free from the Old English and back to the Proto-Indo-European root, P-R-I, pre. The Germanic languages change the P to sound like an F. So pre becomes free. So we go to the appendix and the meaning of the word pre, and it says to love. What? Wait. What? The word that becomes free begins to love. At this month of liberating love, and that's what is because it is the new statement, the beginning of a new statement, which unites us as Unitarian Universalists. Liberating love is placed at the center of our faith. Love that sets us free, that is what we say is at the heart of who we are. Liberating love. And now you tell me that the word free comes from the word to love? Yep. The word to love becomes the Sanskrit priya, meaning dear or beloved. Priya, loves. In Slavonic, it becomes prijatelji, meaning friend. It does that in English too, becoming friend. Remember that the Germanic language changes P to F. And you know who figured that out, he writes? It was Jacob Grimm from the Grimm fairy tales. In Old Norse, Pri becomes the name of Frigg, the wife of Odin, literally meaning beloved. In German, yet, you get Friede, which means peace. Through French, you get the word afraid, which means to break the peace or disturb. And in English, you get free. In theory, the theory is that it means belonging to the loved ones, and therefore not in bondage, not enslaved, free. That is the meaning of the word. We love them, so we do not hold them in bondage. They are our friend, so we want them to be free. They are beloved, so we do not oppress them. To be free is to be loved. And because you are loved, you should be free. That should settle it then. Love is what grounds our faith as Unitarian Universalists. Love is the basis for all of our covenants with one another, our sacred promises, as we agree to journey together in the ways of love, in right relationship with one another. Love is the basis of our covenants with our sibling congregations and with our Unitarian Universalist Association as we live our values with liberating love at the center. Let me geek out now just a minute before I close. In June, the delegates of the Unitarian Universalist Association General Assembly will vote on changing our bylaws that shifts from a list of ethical statements, the 7 principles, to naming our values with love at the center, meaning that we center love. We side with love, liberating love, a love that calls us to make real those values in our congregations and in the world. There's a reflection on the graphic that says at the center of this image is love, the heart of universalism, that eternal and all-conquering force. Around it and from it flows values that express that love, says Tess Bromberger. This love that sits at the center of the image is not sentimental love or romantic love. It is the love that we grow in our communities right here, a deep and abiding love that affirms. No matter what we do or don't achieve or believe, it affirms our worth, your worth. This love is the belief in ourselves and in one another that nothing can rip it apart. This love affirms our interdependence. It is a love that says we all deserve to be loved, whether we've been hurt or have hurt others. For some of us, the love at the center of this image includes a divine love that holds us tenderly and tightly. It is a fierce, protective, and liberating love. It is a hopeful love, a love that inspires people of goodwill and sacrificial spirit to overcome evil and to make this earth as heavenly as possible, just and equitable, pluralistic, affirming all people, all nations, all races, all creeds. Ours is and has always been a heretical faith, meaning, remembering that the meaning of heretic is to choose. It is a courageous faith, a covenantal faith, a faith that calls us to work with that all-conquering, liberating love. It is reinforced by the stories and theology of Unitarian Universalism. No one is outside this love. And so here we have it. Interdependence, equity, transformation, pluralism, generosity, justice. How does all that sound? Interdependence, we're all connected. Equity, equality for all. Transformation, we will change. Pluralism, all are welcome, and we're enriched by that diversity. Generosity, we give with love and from love, and justice. In all of this, this is what I know. That though the days be dark with storms, when sorrow heals our soul, though trouble waits at every turn, I know that I can go on. So we take each other's hands and we sing a song, and we know that hope awaits because we know we will go on. And close with a prayer by A. Paul Davies. O love, whose lights we come. Let's start again. O love, with whose life we come to the beginning of another year. Give us courage for the journeys that lie before us. We know not where our path may lead or what trials we must meet, but with the light of love to guide us and the strength of love to arm us, we go forth in confidence, even if we should falter or lose our way. Love, breathe into us inspiration and clarity. May we be stronger than anything that can happen to us, that without fear at the beginning and without shame at the end, we may give ourselves to the ventures before us. Amen and amen. So be it, and blessed be. May it be so. As we close, as you walk this path, roll this path, however it is that you move through this world, look for the love and know this beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you are loved and that you, as Dr. King said, are united with the very force of the universe. I invite you to join me in our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame but not the light of its truth, the warmth of this community, or the fire of our commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with all the world. As we close this morning, we're talking about light, and Jamie, we're talking about fire. So what do you think? The fire of commitment, does that sound good? I invite you to rise in body or in spirit.